In an hour-long series of statements, Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, and others from the Republican campaign read excerpts from affidavits they say will form the basis of legal cases in up to 4 states. Their untested claims include double and triple counting of votes, centrally organised corruption spanning several states, and even foreign interference involving companies that provided electronic voting services. Mr. Giuliani says there's a credible pathway to victory for Mr. Trump.
The materials I have here, there are at least 10 that come from citizens. We have 1,000 at least, and we're getting more every day. And there are other aspects of this fraud that, at this point, I really can't reveal. This is really enough. It's enough to overturn any election. It's disgraceful what happened.
Former US Defence Secretary William Cohen joined me a little earlier. Secretary Cohen, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
The Trump campaign is still challenging the election results. What are your reflections on the current state of democracy in the United States?
It's very difficult, but I think Trump is trying to extract the last orange he can from the peelings of the orange. This is going to go to Biden. Trump is going to lose. He has lost. He will not be able to turn this around. And so what he's trying to do is make it as difficult as possible for Biden to take over the reins and to go forward with a new program.
Donald Trump has refused to concede. What impact will this instability have on the transition between the Trump administration and the administration of Joe Biden?
Put Joe Biden behind. Joe Biden needs to be taking the baton and moving forward. Donald Trump is saying, I'm not going to hand the baton to you. As you're going through Team America and you're trying to win this race against COVID, et cetera, he's going to say, I'm dropping the baton. I'm going to make it as difficult as I can for you to proceed and to rebuild America. And so it's terribly disheartening that we see a president of the United States trying to undermine the new president of the United States. This is where we are. This president is trying to, in any way he can, to deny, diminish, and undermine President-elect Biden. I say Biden, Obama, Biden.
We've seen a string of firing and hirings in the defence and the national security space. What do you make of the shake-up?
What I make of it is he's undermining our national security in every way that he can. It's really important that the American people have an opportunity to have a new president take over the reins with a new agenda for saying we are multilateral. When I was in the administration in President Clinton, we had a mantra that said multilateral whenever we can, unilateral whenever we must. Trump has taken just the opposite. We want to be unilateral whenever we can, almost never multilateral. So it's a reverse of that. So I think that Trump is trying to undermine this whole notion that we have allies. We need allies. We need to have multilateral arrangements and allies in order to combat the coronavirus, in order to combat all of the conflicts we need to confront in the future. So it's undermining our national security. It's very dangerous. I think it's almost unprecedented, and yet here we are. But I think the good news is, in a short period of time, Biden will take over. Biden will move forward. We will have a vaccine, which will at least give us a chance to get back to semi-normal. But Trump will do whatever he can to throw wrenches into the machinery to try to delay, disrupt, destroy. But I think the American people have spoken, and we want to move forward with a kind of new normal. to get back, not to where we were, but to get back to the point we can move forward with a generation that is open, that is seeking to have everybody contribute to the United States of America. I think what Trump has done is to divide us along racial, ethnic, religious lines, and it's destroying us from within. But the American people have spoken. I think what's happening is that Joe Biden is going to represent the best of our country, and he is going to reach out to every country, every democratic country who shares our ideals and our interests and wants to work together to combat the coronavirus, to combat terrorism, to combat climate change, to combat all the things that transcend geographical boundaries, and say that this is who we are. We want to lead the American people. We want to be a leader in the international community. We want to embrace our allies and to hold off our enemies or adversaries or antagonism. This is who we are. We are a freedom-loving, democratic country who needs to have allies. And without allies, we can't survive.
Will there still be a peaceful transition of power?
There will be a peaceful transition of power. All that we're seeing now is really the last death throes of what the Trump administration is trying to do. Most Americans, Republicans and Democrats, do not like to see what the president is doing. This is not who we are. This is not who we should be. This is not who we represent to the American people and to the country and to the world. We have to say that this is a democracy that believes in the orderly transmission of power. And I believe even in the Senate, they believe this as well. And I think you'll see Mitch McConnell and others finally come to the realization that we can't have President Trump continue to do what he's doing without accountability. So I think the Republicans will finally say, Mr. President, this is not helpful to who we are. We are the leader. We have been the leader of the free world. We need to regain that responsibility. We need to hold the reins of democratic principles throughout the world. We have a number of adversaries. We need to send the signal to our allies and to our friends that this is who we are. We're back. President-elect Biden says we're back, and it means that we're back to building alliances among our democratic allies, to work with our adversaries and say, okay, we're going to contend you, we're going to confront you on the issues on which we believe that we are strongest, and we want to hold all of our allies together against anyone who really wants to contend and to contest the principles that we represent. So I think that there will be a transfer of power. It'll be peaceful. I think that most Republicans ultimately in their heart of hearts know that we cannot continue to be the representative of the free world if we don't do this. So I'm pretty confident we will have that capability.
Thank you so much for your time.
Always happy to be with you.
And that's former US Defence Secretary William Cohen joining us to talk about those claims by the Trump campaign, again, that there's been widespread voter fraud. Stick with us here on ABC News. Coming up next, it's Friday Briefing.